In this video, we're going to import public events from Eventbrite into Airtable. We'll start by installing the Simplescraper Chrome extension. Obviously, you'll need to be using Chrome to do this. Then go to the URL of the events that you want to scrape. So here I'm scraping music events in Sydney. Click on the icon for the Simplescraper. Click Scrape this website. Then click Add a property. We'll call it name. Then click anywhere on the screen. Then we need to change this CSS selector here. So if you go on the blog post that goes with this video, you can get the relevant CSS selectors. So we'll also add image URL. The URL of the event. And finally the date. Then click on this icon. It says select next page element. Scroll down to the bottom and click on this next icon. So we're going to use this to tell Simplescraper to fetch multiple pages of events. Once you've done that, click View Results. Click Save Recipe and sign up for a free Simplescraper account. Then add a name like Scrape Eventbrite Events. Scroll down and where it says number of pages to scrape, enter however many you want to scrape, so we'll try 2. Then under advanced options, you can schedule this to run regularly. Lastly, click create recipe. Then click on the recipe that you created in the left-hand sidebar. Click Run Recipe. Now this is going to scrape 2 pages of events. And we can see the data is pulled in here. Then click on the API tab. And you can see that we've got an API URL that we can use to retrieve that data. So going into Airtable, we want to install the Data Fetcher app. Once the app is installed, we need to sign up or sign in to our Data Fetcher account. So I've got an account already, so I'm going to click Sign In down the bottom, add my password, and click Sign In again. Then click Create Request. Call it something like Fetch Events. Then go back to Simplescraper and copy in that URL into this input here. Select the output table. So I've created an events table that I'm going to use here. And the output view as well. So we're just going to use the grid view. Then you can click Run. You can toggle this to hide the warning in future. And then we can see all these fields coming back from Simplescraper. So click Filter All. And then we're going to re-add some of these fields. So the first one we'll add is the date. We're going to create a new field called date. We're then going to add the image URL field and call that image URL. And select the data type URL. I'm going to keep the name field and map that to our name field in Airtable. And then we're going to keep the URL link field. So not the URL field, but the URL link field. We're going to change the data type to URL and also call it URL. Lastly, we're going to keep the data.uid. So this is a unique ID field that we'll use to identify each event. And then click confirm, and Data Fetcher is going to make those fields for you. And run the request again. Lastly, click save, close the app, and you can see that we've pulled in that event data. So opening the app again, we're going to set up a couple of advanced options. So the first one we're going to do is update based on field and select ID. So this just ensures that the events in our Airtable are kept in sync with the events in Eventbrite. We're then going to set up pagination. So Simplescraper uses offset-based pagination. I'm going to select fetch all pages. I'm going to enter the offset parameter of offset, the limit parameter of limit, and the limit value of 1,000. So this means we'll fetch pages of 1,000 rows of data up to, and we'll use these parameters to configure that. And this is all handled in the background by Data Fetcher. You just need to set it up here. So save your request again. And when we run the request this time, we should pull in some more data. So closing the app, we can see that we've now got 40 records of data. The last thing we can do is schedule this to run regularly. So we know that our scrape is going to run every hour in Simplescraper. So we can schedule this API request, to run every hour as well. So first you'll need to upgrade to a paid Data Fetcher account, then enter your Airtable API key, and then set up the scheduling to run here and click save.